Hi everyone, welcome back and happy new year, new background. This year I have this brown background because that's my new aesthetic. I'm just kidding, I'm actually at a WeWork conference room, and because I've been doing a lot of freelance work this year, or my goal is to do a lot of freelance work this year, specifically to get my writing published in different publications and just to write more and to focus on different areas of communications, not exclusively PR, but influencer marketing, YouTube, writing, all of it. So I'm excited to do that this year. I have a friend who is just dabbling into freelance writing, and she asked me if I had any videos on how to set your freelancing rates, and I said I didn't, but that would be such a good idea because I know that's something that you all would probably like to learn about and just know a little bit more about how it works. This is more of a video for someone who is looking to start freelancing versus someone who's already looking to make an income off of freelancing, but I can make a video about that too. If you would like to see a video about that, please leave a comment below and let me know. Okay, so just to break down, you might already know this, but you might not. Freelancing does not necessarily mean that you're going to work remotely. There are freelancers who actually work on site and work with a company for whatever period of time they're freelancing for, and there are also freelancers that do work remotely. So if you wanted to like travel the world and freelance, you could do that. You just have to find the right opportunities to do so. There's so many resources online. So the good part about freelancing, if you do it full-time or if you even do it part-time, is that most of the time you can set your schedule and you can work on your own hours, which I know is something invaluable to a lot of us, especially to me. And it's just so flexible, and you also have the opportunity to work on whatever different projects you want at different times. The bad part about it is that you have to pay your own taxes and you don't get the benefits of working in-house with a company. So that can be something that can steer some people away from going freelance or from doing freelance work. I think the best method is to pay quarterly taxes, so pay them 4 times a year, so that way when tax season comes around, you don't have to like drop a bunch of money. And if you want more information on how to do that or how I do that or whatever, let me know below again, because I don't want to go into something that you didn't come here for. So anyway, freelance rates. So the first thing you want to do when you negotiate your rates, and the first thing I always try to do, is ask them what their budget is. A lot of times there will be a budget range in whatever freelancers opportunities you apply for. If you're applying like through Upwork or through an agency that facilitates those type of jobs, and so a lot of times they'll be like, you know, starting at, and then the highest is based on experience. But when you're working with somebody individually, what you want to do is ask them what their budget is to see if that's even something that you should pursue. If their budget is a little bit on the lower end, you can express to them that you charge a little bit more for your experience and for your hourly rate or your project rate or whatever it is. And if they say, you know, I would still like to continue because I like your work, then you can take the conversation and keep it going. Also, a lot of times people have a much higher or a much lower budget than you were about to charge. So you want to try to get an idea of where they are before even starting to charge them something, because you don't want to charge them a very low price and then end up finding out that they have a much higher budget and that they're paying other people more than they're paying you. So it's great to ask what their budget is at first. A lot of times people won't tell you that, or companies won't tell you what their budget is. Try to do as much research up front and ask as many questions up front before you even start embarking in the project. Specifically for freelancers, if you are negotiating your writing rates and if you're on a website that works with different writers, I know that they sometimes pay different writers different rates depending on the experience. They can pay you by word or they can pay you by article. You want to try to negotiate that as well, especially if you have experience. You always want to try to go a little bit higher. Most of the time they'll say yes. If they say no, it's like, you know, it's not a big deal. It's just like that's not in their budget, but at least you tried to get a higher pay from the work that you were doing. If you feel that a project is not worth your time or is not worth the publicity exchange that you're getting from it as a writer, I think the best thing to do is just say no to that project, because the last thing you want to do as a freelancer is work for less than you deserve. Once you're established and you already have that experience, you don't want to lower your rates too much, or you don't want to work for a price that you don't think you should be working at, because a lot of time you're going to resent that work. You're not going to be, you know, happy with the client because you're putting in way more hours or you're working for more than you feel that you should. So you definitely want to price whatever you price at for the amount that you think that you're worth. The simplest way to figure out how much you will want to get paid hourly is to take your annual income and figure out. There's a salary calculator online. I'll put the link below, or I'll put it up here, and it tells you if you make I don't know, 70K a year, then it tells you how much you're getting paid hourly. But remember that you're gonna have to pay taxes off of that. So you need to add the tax money in there too, so that you're able to actually survive and thrive and do good work. That is one way that you can start figuring out what your hourly rates are as a freelance writer or as a freelance publicist. So I'll talk about a different way you can rate projects after, but if you wanna go for the hourly rate, a lot of people, most people underestimate the time that it takes them to complete a project. So unless you really know and you've really experienced and you are understand how you work, I would add a couple more hours to the hours that you bill for. And you can always subtract that time if at the end you don't end up working that much, but it's better to just add more at the beginning. I use an app called Hours Keeper to track my freelance hours. Another way you can price is your price per project or your price per article. So let's say you're writing a press release for somebody, you price just for that release, understanding that you might have to call people, do interviews. Also the same goes for articles. You might have to call somebody and do an interview. So let's say that's going to take you 30 minutes to an hour. You might have to transcribe the interview to get quotes. You then have to sit down and actually write the article. So you got to think about all of those hours that it takes you to do that. That's why in this instance, I think it's better to price per project, and you price also for the value that you're adding to the article or to the press release. Your experience is invaluable, and what you know and how you position things is going to be the added value to this article and the reason why they probably want to work with you in the first place. And another way to do freelancing is to get on a retainer schedule, which means that you have certain income coming in monthly. So you have your client sign a contract saying that they're going to pay you this amount monthly, all your hours with them, or you work out, you know, your retainer for this project. If it's going to be a longer project, then you definitely want to get on a retainer basis. It's going to take you a couple of months. You definitely want to get on a retainer basis. A good thing to do when you're first starting off, if you do have the opportunity to work on retainer or work on a large project or a longer project, let's say a 2-week project, for yourself, you can get on Hours Keeper, get an app that tracks your hours, and see how many hours you actually spent working on a specific project versus how many hours you think you were going to spend. And that is a great way to see how you could start charging and charge more for next time and you wanted to, or maybe this client, you know, required a lot of hand holding or back and forth, which is also something that you want to keep into account when you are thinking of your rates. Also, in a nutshell, those are the 3 ways you can start thinking about how you're going to set your rates for freelancing. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you want me to talk more about how I do this, or if you have any specific sort of video requests, let me know, because I'll do them and I love talking about this topic. So I'll try to share as much information as I can with you and as many helpful tips that I have. Like you, I'm also learning, so I will be sure to update you as I learn. I have a playlist on my channel exclusively for PR videos, for writing videos, and for everything that I do to make an income. So feel free to check that out, and hope you subscribe, hope you like my video, and I will see you here next time.